Hey everyone, welcome to Ajay and Nathan Discuss Movies, a show in which we discuss movies both old and new. Today, Nathan is unfortunately out, but have no fear because I did watch a new movie this past weekend, and that movie is titled Tron Ares, directed by Joachim Rønning. The film stars Jared Leto and Greta Lee. Greta Lee plays Eve Kim, Jared Leto plays Ares, as they try to navigate the digital world, known as the grid within the movie, as well as the physical world in order to gain the permanence code. The permanence code allows Ares to not only have powers as a superhuman, but more importantly, gain mortality, and that is at the detriment of Evan Peters' role, who plays Ty Dillinger, who's an evil, corrupt CEO who's trying to use AI for evil and for purposes that help out his business. And they're trying to thwart out not only Ty Dillinger, but also Jodie Smith's character, and other individuals that are of a conflict of interest. So, I did watch Tron Ares. It is the third installment within the Tron franchise. Tron is obviously a film that was released back in the 80s, but its sequel was released in 2012, known as Tron Legacy. It's been a rather tumultuous process of not only releasing films within the Tron universe, but also gaining the praise that it deserves. Tron and Tron Legacy both have a cult-like following, despite not really making that much money in the box office and not really getting that much critical praise amongst critics. But Tron Ares is different because Tron Ares is also following that same beat and pattern that those films have also gone through. So, Tron Ares was released this past weekend, and overall, I'm conflicted at this movie. It's not horrible, but it's also not great. It's somewhere in the middle. I would say it's fine. It's a fine movie. There are issues that I had with it, but there are also some positives that I had about the movie, and we'll get into the positives right now. I felt as if the technical end of this movie was amazing. The sound design was really good. There were moments in which things just happen all of a sudden, and it just like gets to the back of your seat. I was watching this in the Dolby format at my local AMC, so there were moments in which there were like long periods of silence, and just boom, you just hear something just rattle, and you're just like frantic about it. So I thought the sound design was amazing. I thought the cinematography was also really good. Obviously, this film has a budget of northwards of $200 million. The technical aspects have to be good, and they were. I also thought the music was done by Nine Inch Nails, and I felt as if there were moments in the movie where I was just bobbing my head like I'm Jay-Z at that Coldplay concert. It was an event. It was a show, and I felt as if the music definitely did recontextualize the movie in a better way. But in terms of positives, that's where it kinda ends. For negatives, I mean, we've mentioned Greta Lee and Jared Leto. I felt as if everyone in this movie was miscast. In particular, I felt as if Evan Peters was miscast. I like Evan Peters. I felt like he's done well, not only in the X-Men films, but also as Dahmer. He's a good actor. He's been in several other films that have been of note as well. But I felt like within this movie, he just didn't understand what movie he was in. It felt like I was watching James Franco in Oz the Great and Powerful.
Sorry, I thought you were done whistling. I heard a pause.
If you haven't watched that review on it, go watch it on our channel. We discussed it, I think, last year. But he felt like James Franco's role in Oz the Great and Powerful, where you're seeing an individual that doesn't understand the tonal consistency that he should put out within the movie. He's not aware of the tone that the movie's trying to go for, and it kind of put the movie at odds with itself. Greta Lee, I feel like she's really good in this film. She's really good as an actor, but in this film, I felt as if she wasn't really given that much to work with. Hasan Minhaj plays a man named Ajay Singh. My name is AJ, according to the movie. He plays a man named Ajay Singh. He plays the CTO. And while watching it, it felt like Hasan Minhaj was just basically just doing Jesse Eisenberg from Batman v Superman, where he was just way too way too sarcastic, way too humorous for a role of that nature, and it just didn't come across as good. I like Hasan. I don't know as a comedian, but as a human, as a person, I'm sure he's a good person. But yeah, it just felt like it was just massively miscast. Jared Leto, I know there's been a lot of controversy in regards to Jared Leto's cult of personality. I think that's one way you can say it. I don't mind Jared Leto in this film. I think he does play the superhuman robot pretty well. As a man that does not blink, I thought he played that role pretty well. But there's this moment at the end of the film where he gains his mortality and he's just off vacationing somewhere. And that was the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. Jared Leto on vacation with those brown caramel highlights was the scariest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Never show that to me again, Disney. Please. Please. But yeah, I mean, there are issues that I had with the film, and there are more negatives than I have positives about the film. But I think if you're going into this film expecting, I don't know, expecting Blade Runner 2049, Mickey 17, or any other sci-fi film that has stand the test of time and is able to deliver not only on a technical end, but also on a human end, you're sorely mistaken. I think for this film, you got to go into this film expecting an event and expecting great cinematography, great sound design, great music. And if you go in knowing that the film starts and ends with those great qualities, then I'll think you'll enjoy it. But in terms of having like a well-narrative story, a well-crafted story with likable characters and leads, and more importantly, dialogue that isn't cringe to hear, then definitely go watch Mickey 17 again, because I think that film definitely flourishes on all those aspects. I didn't even get into the bad dialogue. The dialogue in this movie was rather corny. There were moments in this film where I'm just watching it and I'm just scratching my head as to why did they choose that? Why did they choose that? There's that moment in which they're driving. There's 2 car chase scenes in this movie. The second car chase scene, not really second car chase scene, but they're heading to a location to retrieve some item. And for some reason, they talk about Depeche Mode ad nauseum. I like Depeche Mode. I think they're a great band, but it was just so much, and it just felt off to me. I don't know. I like Depeche Mode. I think they have some great music, but it felt like, why was that the choice? I understand it makes sense with the 80s synth pop thing, but it just felt more to be desired. So we mentioned the corny dialogue. We've mentioned the fact that there were issues in terms of the casting of these characters, but yeah, I mean, I think that there are better films out there that deal with heavier topics of this nature. You know, for a film that criticizes AI, for a film that criticizes the evilness of AI, my God, does the script feel like it was written by AI? And I think that is an issue, and that serves as a detriment to the film. So, having said all that, I didn't like this film, but I'm sure just like A Legacy and just like Tron, it will get a cult following. Is it deserved? Maybe not, but that's just the reality of the situation. My favorite scene in this entire movie, I know I'm jumbling all around here, but my favorite scene in this entire movie featured Jeff Bridges.
Because I got sucked into a video.
Which
game,
one?
You know, Tron.
That's Tron, of course.
And
I'm not going to spoil it, but there's a scene in which they go back into the original grid back in the 80s, and you see Jeff Bridges. And obviously Jeff Bridges is a character in and of itself, in and of himself. And I just love that scene so much. And for this film to be reminded of the 80s film, that doesn't make it stand out. It doesn't make it break out and create its own cinematic universe. Because, of course, Disney wants to make this its own cinematic universe. There's like a post-credit scene involving Evan Peters that was quite hastily done. Felt like it was shot by the Russo brothers. But yeah, I don't know where they're going to go from here. I mean, I really don't know what they're going to create out of this film. What's the future for Greta Lee's character, Eve Kim? What's the future for Ares? What's the future for Athena? What's the future for Dillinger? I just don't know. And frankly, I just don't care. I know that's kind of sad to say out loud, but it's just a thing in which they just came out with a bit of a dud. And as a result, when I left the theater, I just wasn't all that impressed by the film. I like the keychain they gave me. Apparently, the AMC employees, if you buy a ticket to see Tron Ares in its opening weekend in the Dolby format, you get a keychain. So I liked it. It was the keychain of of Ares on a motorbike. It was cool, but I don't know, not cool enough for me to warrant giving it a positive, glowing review. So, unfortunately, go watch it if you like technical feats, if you like technical achievements put on film. But in terms of the overall writing and the direction of the film, it left a lot to be desired. So, those are my thoughts on Tron Ares. Give me your thoughts on it. Did you like it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? I know I'm just borrowing from Anthony Fantano at this point, but let me know your thoughts on the film. I really want to know. Like, if it was good, explain why it was good to you. And obviously, as always, the bookshop has been updated. So please go to bookshop.org /shops/Ajay Nathan to see our pick for this week. My pick is a Thomas Pynchon novel, so please go read it if you're interested. But other than that, I'll see you guys next week. I'll probably discuss Good Fortune, directed by Aziz Ansari. That's it for us. That's it for me.